In a bustling city, where the skyscrapers touch the clouds and the hum of ambition fills the air, we meet Jonathan Reed, the owner of a mid-sized tech company known for its innovative products and vibrant workplace culture. Jonathan had always prided himself on his hands-on approach to leadership, believing that being closely connected to his employees was crucial for success. However, as the company grew, he began to sense a disconnect between himself and his team. Determined to bridge this gap, Jonathan devised an unconventional plan. He would go undercover as a job applicant in his own company. Adopting a new identity, he transformed his appearance and demeanor to fit in with the everyday employees who worked under him. He hoped that by immersing himself in their world, he could gain authentic insights into their experiences and perspectives. As he prepared for the interview process, Jonathan felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. He understood the importance of this mission, not only to evaluate potential candidates, but also to uncover hidden truths about the workplace culture he had cultivated. Little did he know that this journey would lead him to an unexpected revelation, one that would challenge everything he thought he knew about his company and its employees. With determination in his heart and a sense of purpose guiding him, Jonathan walked through the doors of his own business, ready to listen and learn. To fully embrace his undercover role, Jonathan meticulously crafted an identity that would allow him to blend seamlessly into the company culture. He chose the name Alex Carter, a name that felt both ordinary and relatable. Dressed in casual attire, jeans, and a simple button-up shirt, he aimed to project the image of a typical tech enthusiast eager to contribute to the innovative environment of the company. Jonathan's focus was on applying for a mid-level position within the software development team, a role that would allow him to engage with employees directly and observe their day-to-day interactions. He reviewed the job description thoroughly, familiarizing himself with the responsibilities and expectations. This preparation was vital, as he wanted to ensure that no detail seemed out of place during his interviews. On the day of the interview, nerves fluttered in Jonathan's stomach as he approached the office building, now viewed through Alex's eyes. The familiar logo and bustling atmosphere felt strangely foreign. As he entered, he was greeted by friendly smiles and casual banter among employees, a reminder of the camaraderie he'd envisioned when starting the company. As Jonathan settled into a waiting area filled with other candidates, he overheard snippets of conversation around him, discussions about project deadlines, team meetings, and personal anecdotes. Little did he know that soon, these seemingly innocuous exchanges would lead him to an unexpected turning point in his mission. With each tick of the clock, Jonathan's anticipation grew. He was ready to discover what lay beneath the surface of his own organization. As Jonathan, now Alex, sat in the waiting area, he could feel the electric buzz of anticipation surrounding him. The atmosphere was filled with nervous laughter and the rustling of resumes, all echoing the hopes and dreams of those vying for a position in his company. Finally, a sleek door opened, and a recruiter gestured for him to enter. Jonathan took a deep breath and stepped inside. The interview room was bright and modern, adorned with motivational quotes and innovative designs that reflected the company's ethos. The hiring manager, Lisa, greeted him with a warm smile and an engaging demeanor. She began by outlining the role's responsibilities, asking about his technical skills and previous experience in software development. Jonathan navigated the questions with ease, drawing from his extensive knowledge while consciously keeping his responses general to maintain his cover. As the interview progressed, Jonathan felt a flicker of excitement. This was more than just an assessment. It was an opportunity to connect with the very fabric of his company. However, amidst the formalities, he noticed two employees seated at a nearby table, Sarah and Mark, who were there as part of a collaborative hiring process. Their presence would soon become pivotal. When Lisa turned her attention to them for their feedback, Jonathan's heart raced. He listened intently as they exchanged their thoughts on candidates, but it was their genuine camaraderie and insights about workplace dynamics that truly captured his focus. Little did he know that their conversation would soon change everything he thought he knew about the company he had built. As the interview continued, Jonathan's focus shifted from his own responses to the unfolding conversation between Sarah and Mark. They began discussing their views on the company culture and the challenges they face in their roles. Jonathan leaned in slightly, captivated by the authenticity of their exchange. "Honestly, I feel like management is a bit out of touch," Sarah said, her voice steady yet tinged with frustration. "We have great ideas, but it often feels like they go unheard. Sometimes, I wonder if they even know what we're dealing with on the ground." Mark nodded in agreement, adding, "Exactly. It's like we're just numbers on a spreadsheet to them. There's so much potential here, but it feels stifled. We need more open channels for communication." Jonathan felt a chill run down his spine. These were not just casual remarks. They were heartfelt reflections from employees who cared deeply about their work and the company's future. He could hardly believe what he was hearing. These were sentiments he had never anticipated from his team. As Sarah and Mark continued to share their thoughts, Jonathan realized that their vulnerabilities shone a light on a significant disconnect between management and employees. They discussed specific instances where their input was overlooked and expressed a desire for more collaborative initiatives. Each word struck a chord within him, forcing Jonathan to confront uncomfortable truths about his leadership approach. In that moment, he understood that this experience would not just be about gathering insights for potential hires. It had morphed into a crucial revelation about the very essence of his company's culture. As Sarah and Mark continued to voice their concerns, Jonathan felt a growing sense of urgency to absorb every detail. Their candidness was both alarming and enlightening, revealing layers of dissatisfaction he had not fully acknowledged. "I think we need more transparency in decision-making," Mark suggested earnestly. "When new policies are introduced, it would help if we understood the reasoning behind them. Sometimes it feels like changes come out of nowhere, leaving us scrambling to adapt." Sarah chimed in, her tone passionate. "And we really need more opportunities for feedback. Regular check-ins or surveys would go a long way. It's frustrating to feel like our ideas aren't valued. I believe this team is capable of incredible things if we're given a platform to share our thoughts." Jonathan nodded subtly, his heart heavy with realization. These were not mere complaints. They were calls for connection and collaboration that he had unintentionally overlooked in his quest for growth and efficiency. He could see the fire in their eyes, the desire to innovate and contribute meaningfully to the company's success. Mark's voice softened as he added, "We want to be part of the solution. We're passionate about what we do, but it feels like there's a wall between us and upper management." This moment crystallized for Jonathan the importance of fostering an inclusive environment where employees felt empowered to express their ideas and concerns. He recognized that if he truly wanted to lead effectively, he needed to dismantle those walls and build bridges instead. Started with a commitment to listen and engage with his team on a deeper level. As Sarah and Mark continued to share their thoughts, Jonathan wrestled with a tumultuous internal conflict. The weight of their words pressed heavily on his conscience, igniting a mix of guilt and self-reflection. Here he was, the owner of the company, sitting in a disguise, yet hearing firsthand how his decisions had impacted the very people he had intended to uplift. Jonathan's mind raced as he considered the implications of their concerns. Had he become so absorbed in the mechanics of running a successful business that he had lost sight of the human element? The realization stung. He had always considered himself approachable, but now it felt painfully clear that many employees felt isolated and unheard. Part of him longed to reveal his true identity and reassure them that their voices mattered. Yet another part hesitated, grappling with the fear that disclosing who was might shatter the fragile trust they had built in this moment of honesty. Would they see him as a leader striving for improvement, or merely as another figure in a suit who had failed to connect with his team? As he sat in that chair, Jonathan felt torn between two worlds. One where he maintained his cover gained genuine insights, and another where revealing himself might lead to immediate change, but could also risk their openness. In that moment, he understood that this was more than an undercover mission. It was about confronting his own shortcomings and the urgent need for transformation within his company. The tension in the room was palpable as Jonathan wrestled with his decision. He could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on him, amplifying the urgency to act. Sarah and Mark were baring their souls, articulating their frustrations and aspirations with such sincerity that it pierced through his carefully constructed facade. After a brief silence, Jonathan cleared his throat, feeling a mix of exhilaration and trepidation. The thought of revealing his true identity sent a shiver down his spine, but he knew he could not let this opportunity slip away. He had come seeking the truth about his company, and now he had to honor that truth by being transparent with them. "Hold on," he said, raising a hand to pause the conversation. The two employees looked at him, confusion flickering in their eyes. "I have something important to say." With a deep breath, Jonathan decided to embrace the vulnerability of the moment. "My name isn't Alex," he admitted, feeling the weight of each word. "I'm Jonathan Reed, the owner of this company." A stunned silence enveloped the room as Sarah and Mark absorbed his revelation. Their expressions shifted from confusion to shock to a mix of disbelief and curiosity. Jonathan continued, speaking earnestly about why he had gone undercover, to better understand their experiences and improve the workplace culture. As he spoke, he could see the initial shock in their eyes begin to soften into something else, an opening for dialogue. This was a pivotal moment, and Jonathan felt a surge of hope. Perhaps this honest exchange would be the catalyst for meaningful change within his company. The room fell silent as Jonathan's revelation hung in the air. Sarah and Mark exchanged bewildered glances, their expressions a mix of shock and disbelief. It was a moment that neither of them had anticipated, and they struggled to process the reality that the man sitting before them, sharing their frustrations, was actually their boss. "Wait, you're the owner?" Sarah finally managed to say, her voice barely above a whisper. "But why would you go through all this trouble?" Jonathan took a deep breath, feeling both vulnerable and empowered. "I want to understand what it's really like to work here," he explained. "To hear your thoughts and challenges directly from you, without the filter of hierarchy. I recognize now that I've been distant, and I truly want to change that." Mark, still processing the news, leaned back in his chair. "This is unexpected," he admitted slowly. "But honestly, it's good to know you care enough to hear us out. I just hope this isn't a one-time thing." Jonathan nodded earnestly. "It's not. I'm committed to making changes based on what we discussed today." As the conversation continued, a palpable shift occurred in the room. The initial shock began to fade, replaced by a willingness to engage in an open dialogue about workplace culture and improvements. Both Sarah and Mark expressed their relief at finally having an avenue to share their ideas directly with leadership. In that moment, Jonathan realized he had not only broken down barriers, but also opened the door to a new chapter for his company, one built on trust, communication, and collaboration. The reactions of his employees signaled the beginning of meaningful change, a chance for growth that would benefit everyone involved. As the initial shock of Jonathan's revelation faded, an open dialogue blossomed within the room. Sarah and Mark began to share their thoughts more freely, articulating not only their frustrations, but also their hopes for the company's future. Jonathan listened intently, taking notes on their suggestions and ideas for improvement. "I think regular team meetings would make a huge difference," Sarah suggested. "If we could discuss projects and challenges together, it would foster more collaboration and help everyone feel included." Mark chimed in, "And maybe creating a dedicated platform for feedback would ensure that our ideas are heard. It could be anonymous if people are hesitant to speak up directly." Jonathan felt a wave of gratitude wash over him as they spoke. These insights were gems he had been blind to, hidden treasures buried beneath layers of organizational structure. He realized that fostering a culture of communication was not just about listening. It required active engagement and a commitment to change. "Thank you for being so honest," he said, his voice sincere. "This conversation is invaluable, and I'm committed to implementing these suggestions. We need to create an environment where everyone feels safe to express themselves." As the discussion continued, Jonathan felt a sense of camaraderie forming among them. The barriers that once separated management from employees were crumbling, replaced by a shared commitment to growth and improvement. In that moment, Jonathan learned a crucial lesson. Leadership is not about authority, but about connection. By embracing vulnerability and inviting honest discourse, he had not only gained invaluable insights, but also laid the foundation for a more inclusive and innovative workplace culture, one that could truly thrive together. As the conversation drew to a close, Jonathan felt a renewed sense of purpose. The insights he gained during his undercover experience had opened his eyes to the realities faced by his employees and illuminated the path toward meaningful change. He looked at Sarah and Mark, their expressions reflecting a mix of hope and anticipation, and he knew that this was just the beginning of a transformative journey. "Today has been incredibly enlightening," Jonathan said, his voice firm and sincere. "I want to assure you both that I'm committed to implementing the ideas we've discussed. We will establish regular team meetings and create a feedback platform to ensure everyone's voice is heard. He continued, but I also want your help. I believe that together, we can develop initiatives that foster a culture of collaboration and innovation. I plan to involve more employees in decision-making processes moving forward and would love your input on how best to do that. As they exchanged thoughts about potential next steps, Jonathan felt a sense of optimism wash over him. This experience had not only revealed the disconnect within his company, but had also sparked a powerful dialogue that could lead to profound changes. In closing, Jonathan recognized that leadership required adaptability and empathy. By committing to open communication and actively engaging with his team, he was not merely a boss, but a partner in their shared success. With newfound determination, he left the meeting room confident that together they could build a brighter future, one where every employee felt valued, empowered, and inspired to contribute their best work.